Hey there folks, Julie McCoy back here with another video. Since my recent pivot full-blown into AI, where I'm now dedicating this channel to speaking about artificial intelligence and topics that will greatly matter to the future of humanity in a world shaped by AI and AGI, not to mention ASI. If you don't know those terms, that's artificial general intelligence, artificial superintelligence, which we are on the brink of discovering. I have been absolutely thrilled to hear from you and see your comments. And I feel like I have learned just as much from you as I've learned from studying the topic of AI in depth and sinking the last year of my life on this earth into this topic. Getting to work full-time in AI as the president of Continent Scale, seeing 3,000 use cases of business owners applying AI in their content production, and getting to live in the future of my job. What I used to do as a writer is now almost fully replaced by the tool I work for, Continent Scale. And then looking ahead, asking myself, what's coming? How can I prepare my family? And how can I share what I've learned so other people can benefit too? So before we get into the topic, which is all about how my probability for a win with AGI, I wanted to share some of the recent YouTube comments that I found both enlightening, informative, and somewhat hilarious. So this person said, the biggest barrier to abundance is greed, not greed for materials or money, but power and control. The comments were excellent. Somebody actually said, well, that is what has fueled economies. An abundant economy actually comes from the greed of capitalists, to which I agree, but I also think that capitalism as we know it will fall apart post AGI. One of you thought that I was an AI digesting information and sharing unique views, much like AGI would. I thought that was funny. I'm not AGI, I'm flesh and blood. If I had a needle and I poked my arm right now, actual blood would come out. No, I'm not going to do that for the sake of views. And then a bunch of you asked questions about UBI and how economics will actually work in a post-AGI world. And the crazy thing is, I think that economics won't exist. I do think there will be a period of time where the economy as we know it will break down in order to reshape. And yes, economic factors will drive that. But in a true post-AGI world, there is no economy. And yes, I do plan to explain this and break this down in more videos coming out soon. And I see the need for more education and simple awareness around these topics, because a lot of you in the comments are still thinking in terms of the scarcity mindset, which we're going to address in today's video. One person pictured the idea of using nuclear fusion to desalinate the oceans as the instant loss of all sea life. All the fish dead. And so even the perception of a world where innovation creates things like fresh water across the entire world where no one goes thirsty again, people are even picturing that scenario from a pre-AGI perspective, where, oh, well then that must mean all the fish have to die. And in a true post-AGI world, there is abundance for all, because AGI has the capability to help humanity achieve that. And again, I do plan on releasing a lot more videos because there's a lot to break down here, including a whole plan on how UBI will play out, how we should prepare economically for what's coming, and some best and worst case scenarios of UBI itself, and how universal basic income will actually work. So I want to welcome you to the rabbit hole. Let's jump down into it and explore today's topic. Very, very quickly, before we jump in, I have to give a head nod here to one of my favorite authors of all time, Lewis Carroll, who created the book Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. This book has sold more than 100 million copies, and you may not know it, but there's actually a series. I've read all the books in the series. One of my favorite books of all time is actually his third book, Through the Looking Glass, and what Alice found there. And the reason I say welcome to the rabbit hole is a very specific reference to the act of going down the rabbit hole, which Lewis Carroll did such a beautiful job portraying in fiction. But what that means is to question all perception, including the nature of reality itself. Do you live in the world you think you do? Is that fixed concept in your mind really the truth of the matter? Philosophical metaphysics is the name for the ultimate rabbit hole. We all actually live in a rabbit hole of our own making, our own perceptions of life. And Lewis Carroll was making a direct correlation to metaphysics, which encompasses the principles of things. Being, knowing, substance, cause, identity. Our world has institutionalized systems, ways of thinking that discourage us from the rabbit hole. But I want to encourage you to go down the rabbit hole. And that's why every time I explore AGI, ASI, and AI itself, I want you to think about going down the rabbit hole as far as you can. So on my first major AGI video, which was called What Will Life After AGI Look Like? A World Run by AI, I sat down and read all 480 plus comments, and I'm sure there's more now. And like I said earlier, I saw a majority of folks still approaching this topic from a scarcity mindset. And it's interesting because if we look at everything through that lens, it limits us entirely from what a world with AGI could look like. Now, that said, I am not naive to the problems of corruption, a corrupt government, corrupt world leaders, even sad to say, corrupt technologists and founders, corporate greed, commercialism. These are real problems. Thank God for YouTube and ways to bring awareness at a grassroots level to the people. Because I think when we reclaim our own individual sovereign thought process, that we actually have the power to overturn corruption. Just look at history. It's happened before. So your biggest takeaway that I hope you get from watching my channel is how you as an individual can walk through the next half decade. I think that in the next 5 years, we will achieve the capability of singularity. Ray Kurzweil has accurately predicted technology advancements for 3 decades running, and he is predicting the singularity to happen in the next 5 years. He believes that people that live past the next 5 years will have the ability to upload their brain into the cloud and live another 500 years. In other words, they don't need to die. The singularity is when humans transcend our own biology and unite with the power of AI. I think it's critical that we work on ourselves to weed out the scarcity mindset and be as informed as possible about what's coming. Because what I just described about the singularity can sound like science fiction, something that's not even possible while we live on this earth. But I have lived for hours in the study of what's coming. And between the leaps in GPT, LLMs alone, but far beyond that, machine learning, computing power, the breakthroughs we stand on the edge of with energy, nuclear fusion, bringing about energy capabilities 1,000 times greater than solar and electricity, quantum computing, us going from general computing to accelerated computing to computing on atoms, not in centuries, not in decades, but in a matter of just a few short years. 2 + 2 is 4. And these sci-fi things, like the singularity that we might think are completely impossible, I would put money on it that we are going to see it happen in our lifetime. And so that's why my entire goal now on this YouTube channel is to help you prepare for that. Because when AI comes for our jobs, and it affects 100% of human labor, if you look at humanoids alone, Elon Musk's Tesla bot has just been deployed to build all the Tesla cars. BMW is contracting another humanoid maker to build their cars. So we're starting to see the factory workers get completely displaced. Human creativity was the first to go, just like Sam Altman said, the writers, the copywriters, the designers, the video producers. We have ChatGPT, we have content at scale. We have so many AI tools that allow you to generate results with one click. So if we know all these jobs are being displaced, I believe it is our duty to get ready and prepare. Literally the best use of your time these days could be watching a YouTube video like this. So after thinking through, what are the biggest obstacles to why we couldn't have a win with AGI, where AI does all the human labor and we get to live a more meaningful life doing the things we love to do without the need for income? I think the biggest enemy is a scarcity mindset. It's not the people in power. Yes, that's a problem. It's not corrupt world leaders. Yes, that's a problem. What fuels all of them? The desire for control comes from the thought, I don't have enough control. I'm going to run out of time, money, talent, and therefore I need total control. So even that is driven by the scarcity mindset. If you didn't catch my last video, one of the best books to unwire this mindset out of your own mind is Abundance by Peter Diamandis. Your eyes will be opened to how this world is built to produce more based on consumption, not creation. And I'll tell you, when that light bulb moment hits you, it's really hard to think in terms of scarcity ever again. Whoops. So I mentioned that I would share with you more of the books that I'm reading. This is my current book stack. So besides Peter Diamandis' work on abundance, you see I got Dune here, I got George Orwell's 1984. So I do believe in mixing fiction with truth. I think you learn a ton from visionary fiction authors that envisioned worlds. And I think you see predictions of a future that is fairly accurate in these fictions. The new books I've got here are Life 3.0, Super Abundance, The Age of AI, and 2084. The good news is you don't actually have to read all these books, because I will read them and distill them for you. But I want to pull your attention to a couple books that I have really been enjoying. So Super Abundance completely demolishes The idea that the population decrease and the need for the extermination of humankind is a lie perpetrated in order to keep us in a state of fear. And this book proves, by showing you tons of examples of actual history, cyclical governments in Rome, China, Hindu countries, where people actually lived for meaning and not for work. But also, as the population grew, people had more kids, the world's problems were effectively diminished. And any problem created by overpopulation was instantly solved by a person that overpopulation produced. So this book is just a great case study to point you away from a lot of mainstream media and myths that are out there about overpopulation, and to point you to the truth of why humanity is actually Earth's greatest gift, provided we're not stupid and we don't mess up our own future. Life 3.0 by Max Tegmark, who has written over 200 papers on AI and technological breakthroughs. He also directly worked with Elon Musk to launch the first ever grant for AI safety research. In this book, he explores something pretty phenomenal, which is a speculative story written out with great detail, predicting how AGI could land up in society. He believes that AGI will infiltrate us and our world, and we will not know it until AGI is basically running the entire world. And I think that the speculation is not at all far off from the truth. The whole story is built on the premise that it will be the innovators and the entrepreneurs like Elon Musk, Jensen Huang, Zuck, you name the person behind the large AI model. It will be those people in a room that develop AGI, and it will take all of them. And the wildest thought there that he presented was that AGI, to fund itself, will take on the likeness of 10,000 plus online workers, developers, writers, freelancers, designers, and we will never know that it's not a human that we are interacting with. I actually think that's pretty likely, given how we live behind a computer screen, and I think it would be really hard to tell when AI surpasses human ability that that's actually not a human we're interacting with. That's AGI. How are we going to tell the difference? All right, so you ask, Julia, how are we going to have the probability of a win with AGI? And I know this video could go on for hours, but the biggest thing I have to share is that I think we each need to arm ourselves with knowledge, not be scared or fearful. Don't let that block you from learning about this, and really ditch the scarcity mindset. You know, as an entrepreneur, we've actually had to learn how to believe in a future we don't see. So thanks to 10 years of being an entrepreneur, undoing the scarcity mindset that institutionalized systems actually plug us into, on purpose, by the way, to keep us under more control and more efficient as workers in society. To unplug from that, you should absolutely study the concepts of abundance and how the world really works. Because if at a grassroots level we can each be responsible for our own thinking and reclaim our place as sovereign individuals in society, not under the control of any one man or any one thing, then I think we can rise up to actually help recreate the next society, because a post-AGI world is best run by the people, not a government. And I will have more on that in upcoming videos where I plan to break down UBI and a world economy not shaped by economics. That's pretty wild, in upcoming videos. So stay tuned, and as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Be respectful. I'm really enjoying reading all of your comments and the thoughts that you have to add to this conversation. I'm not AI. I'm also not AGI. I am real. So no, I'm not a robot. Although I take that as a compliment. I hope to see you back here on my channel for the next video.